Al told me if I ever got in front of a crowd like this, instead of standing in the shadows like I normally do, that I should be very careful what I say, because he said one day you're the toast of the town, and the next day you're just toast. Went overseas and did a bunch of work with charities and children and blind people and lepers, and came back and ended up on a sailboat. And one day in 2005, the phone connected for some reason to some island tower, and it rang. And it was Al Simpson, and he said, "These guys want to write the story of my life, and they don't know me as well as you do. Would you like to take a shot at it?" And I said, because it was a good life, and I said, just a second, Al, I'm having trouble getting the cork out of this bottle of Chardonnay. But I did, and I said, "Why would I do that?" And he said, "Because I will give you access to everything in my life. Everything." And I thought I knew a lot, but all of his records, his papers, his speeches, his personal letters from his family members, it was all there. Everything that I could possibly want, and especially the diaries. 6,000 pages were the diaries, 19 binders, and people like David McCullough said the reason that these are valuable is that they were put down, these things, as they happened. So I was at the White House or talking to Gorbachev or Saddam Hussein, and he took notes, and then he dictated it into this diary that ended up being 2.4 million words. And Al said, "How long is this going to take?" I said, "About a year." That was in 2005. And I also said that I have to have editorial control. If you write anything in this book, people are not going to think they'll think it's a puff piece. And also, you can't have any money. This is not a story about politics. Half of you have probably written books about politics. The bill goes here, the bill goes there, it gets passed, it doesn't get passed, people slug it out in the cloakroom, whatever. This is a book about humanity, about a human being. He happened to be a politician. But this is a story about a person who is extremely human, a person who puts citizenship ahead of partisanship. And that's why it was important to tell this story. And it goes back to the days in which Republicans and Democrats spoke to each other and respected each other. And it doesn't happen as much anymore, but for example, Al Simpson was a great friend of Ted Kennedy. They spoke very late into his life. And people didn't know that, and they didn't understand it, in Wyoming especially. So there's one little story that I have to tell you that it kind of demonstrates the days in which there was friendship, because either one of these guys could get the mic and tell the same exact story. It involves a town meeting in Wyoming, you know, where people come in and they raise their hands and they're upset about something. And this raucous meeting is going on, and Al's presiding over it, and in the door comes Ted Kennedy. And people can't believe it. A guy in the back says, "What's this guy doing in Wyoming?" Another guy stands up and he says, "That Ted Kennedy, he's here in Wyoming. That guy is a horse's ass." Simpson jumps up, runs to the back of the room, grabs the guy, opens the door, and throws him into a snowbank. And when he comes back in, Kennedy says to him, "Good heavens, that was magnificent, Al. I had no idea that this was Kennedy country." And Al looked at him and said, "Ted, it's not. It's horse country."